Okay, so welcome everybody. I obviously this week has been insane from start to finish in just about every level in everyone's life. So earlier this week, I thought that it would be fun to do a kind of workshop, slightly longer class. This will be 75 minutes on Yin Yoga and Yoga Nidra. So as I mentioned in our warm-up room before, I'm studying towards like an advanced teacher training, and I'm learning new modalities of teaching. But throughout sort of COVID times, and also just everything has been, a lot on people. And I've found a lot of calmness through a Yin practice. So what is Yin Yoga? Yin Yoga is a slow practice based around long holds of postures. And almost all of them are done seated or supine, on like lying on your back. So it's really restful. We're not going to put any pressure on our hands really, and the knees will be pretty safe. But where this gets really different, and why I want to call this kind of a workshop, is that I want to kind of give a lot of explanation of why we're doing what we're doing. Yin Yoga starts without a warm-up, right? Because the whole idea is that we're holding shape for a long time. And rather than push ourselves or ask ourselves to be very active in any shape, we start very passively. And by holding the shapes and being very slow and mindful, we find ourselves coming a little bit deeper into the stretches. So it is an introspective practice. We do a lot of forward folding, and it's quiet. I talk a lot about alignment during my regular classes, but you'll find that I'm a lot quieter now. And that's about it. So generally, it's nice to have a couple of couch cushions if you don't have yoga blocks. If you do have yoga blocks, great. Also, a blanket is nice to have, but we won't mess with props too much, just because then it goes into like a restorative situation. But it is really nice to have pillows around, okay? And today we will generally focus on opening for the hips, lower back, upper back, but again, very, very gently. And then we'll end with a yoga nidra, which is yogic sleep. Okay. So starting off our 75 minutes together. Thank you for joining me. Like, it is really hard to carve out this much time for yourself, and it's like, congratulate yourself for that, please. There was in my teacher training the other day, someone said, if you have 20 minutes to sit, take 20 minutes, but if you don't, sit for an hour. So, okay, counting us down on our playlist, which is pinned on the chat, or if you're watching after this, it is in your email or in the class description. I'll count us down for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So come to a comfortable seat, however you like. This time we're actually going to start sitting up. Tall, but if you want to lie down, you can too. If you want to sit in a chair, if you want to sit on a pillow, it can be really nice to actually place some cushioning under your hips, right? So that your pelvis is nice and supported and kind of tilted under like a bowl, rather than sometimes when we relax, we can wind up leaning back. I had a client do that a little bit earlier. So nice to put something under your seat. And we'll start with a few minutes of meditation and breath work, as generally most Yin Yoga classes traditionally do. So find the seat that feels really good for you. Close your eyes. And then find a tall spine. And finding that tall spine, however you've decided to sit or lie down, feeling your tailbone connect with the ground, finding your glutes sink into the ground underneath you. Finding your palms rest heavy on your thighs wherever you are. If you're sitting up tall, feeling your shoulders stack over your hips, feeling your head stack over your shoulders. If you're lying down, but feeling those body parts just sink into the ground underneath you. And then start to deepen your breathing. Taking a quick body scan. And as you notice anything going on in your body, just see if you can notice it and maybe even give it a name. And this is a meditation technique that we just call naming or observing. So if you start to notice an area of physical tension, really name it, own it. Say, maybe that's my lower back. And then when you give it a name, it loses some of its power and you let it go. Maybe it's your shoulder, maybe it's your upper back. Maybe you notice, oh, there's that twinge under my right shoulder blade. Name it. Already it's losing some of its power once you identify it. Imagine putting that in a balloon and the balloon just kind of flying away. Now, maybe direct some of that attention to your mind, your thoughts. Your thoughts are going back to something that already happened, is already over. You say, oh, there I am thinking about that thing that's done. You notice it, send it away. If your mind is something that's happening after this class, like, or in the future, we have not gotten there. It may not happen that way at all. Tell yourself, I'm thinking about that thing, name it, let it go. Maybe something is happening in your mind in the present tense, right? Maybe you're saying, oh, here I am worrying during a yoga class, or here I am thinking this or that. Name it and let it go. Big inhale through the nose. Exhale, sigh it out. Big inhale through the nose. Exhale, sigh it out. Last one like this. Big inhale through the nose. Exhale, let it go. Feel the lift at the bottom of that breath out. Now, so just take those deep breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. And just for today, those breaths can be really soft. No need to constrict the back of the throat. Just let them happen naturally, spending a long time on your inhale. And a long time on the exhale. Maybe even starting to exaggerate how long you spend on the breath out. Now I'm going to introduce us to a little breathing exercise that you may recognize if you've practiced with me before, called sum of Reiki breathing or equal breathing. And in sum of Reiki breathing, we'll start out by counting our breath in and out in multiples of 4. And what that does, right, is it can be very difficult to tell yourself, okay, I'm going to sit in meditation. The mind fluctuations might be really like all over the place. So by focusing on our breath and focusing our mind on the count, we can develop concentration, which takes us further inside into a meditative state. So empty all the air out of your lungs. Take a long exhale. And then inhale for a count of 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now take a couple of rounds of that on your own count. Exploring what you need from the breath today. Maybe your count goes faster. Maybe your count goes more slowly. Maybe you might want to experiment with taking the count to 5, taking it to 6, and maybe down to just 2 or 3, whatever suits you today. Then in yoga, we have a text called the Yoga Sutras, which are small little pearls of wisdom, aphorisms for our practice. And one of my favorites translates in English to calmness is attained through exhalation and retention of the breath. So what that's telling us is these breaths out are for moments of intention, of reflection, of relaxation, as much as the long, deep breaths in. And again, if you notice that your mind starts to wander, just bring it back to that count. And when you're ready, gently let go of the count. Just breathe out all the way, coming back to those inhales and exhale. And gently open your eyes. And we'll move to our first shape, reclined cobbler's pose, Superbadakanasana. So again, yin yoga, we hold the shapes for much longer than we're used to in a hatha or flow class. And the idea is that we don't put any pressure on ourselves to perform, to create the shape in any particular way. So right now, we're going to bring the soles of our feet together. We've practiced this together many times before. If you've practiced with me. And the knees are going to open out to the side. Now, because this is a yin class and we are going to be here for several minutes, I really invite you to go ahead and support your knees on either side with whatever padding you have. You don't have to. You could even grab a blanket or a towel, and I like to find a little bit of grounding by placing something heavy over my hips here. Okay. So take a moment and get this really set up here under your knees. And then from here, we're just going to lie down. So already, you might be seeing why this is one of my favorite styles of yoga. So go ahead and bring the knees out wide and then just get really settled here. Tuck the tailbone under so that your lower back is nice and supported, flat onto the ground. Your soles of the feet are touching. And then options here You can either turn your palms up and let your arms alongside your body if you'd like some gentle opening for the chest, super passive. If you'd like more grounding, you can place one hand over your heart, one hand over your navel. And then if you'd really like to release some tension through the upper back and you're feeling open, you can grab opposite elbows above your head and then just drop the forearms down to the ground behind your back so they rest on the floor. So that's a little bit more active. But make a choice here and then get settled. We'll be here for about 2.5 minutes. And by just releasing into these postures, just asking ourselves just to let them happen to us rather than forcing them. Just start to calm the nervous system. You start to find new openings of the posture. You might find that as we hold this for longer, you might feel a little bit more open. It's okay to send breath to any little areas of tension. You can really tilt the pelvis under, flatten the lower back into the ground. That might feel like a little bit of a massage. And while we find stillness in these shapes, it's okay to go a little bit in a different direction if you like. So if you didn't try the arm variation, clasping elbows above your head, you can try that now. Or if you did have that and you wanted to let it go, you can also let it go. Just about another 45 seconds or so. Start with a relaxing breath into the hips. Imagining the breath lubricating those ball and socket joints that keep us sitting, keep us standing. And gently coming to the end of our time here, bring your hands gently to the outside of your knees. If you had anything on top of your hips like I did, you can go ahead and get rid of that. Close your knees together like a book. Take a moment, bring your feet as wide as the mat. Let the knees knock in. Bring one hand to heart, one hand to navel, and just windshield wiper your legs from side to side in this little constructive rest shape. Moving slowly, hug knees into chest here and just take a moment, maybe press down on each shin, massaging out the lower back by that little moment of pressure on the right, pressure on the left. Yeah, everyone looks beautiful here. Taking in this into a happy baby. So again, because this is a yin class, we're going to hold this for a little bit longer than usual. So if you're used to practicing this in one way, maybe start a little bit on the entry point and then see what happens. Keeping the knees bent, gently guide your knees out to either side of your ribs. okay? Flex the feet so the feet are like virtually pressing on the ceiling. From here, with your hands behind your thighs, can you go ahead and press your tailbone back into the floor? So finding that same nice lower back firmness that we did in our last shape together. And now from here, you can go ahead and keep your hands behind your thighs if this feels good. Other options are that you can reach up for your shins, place your hands on your shins. That makes it a little bit more active. And then making this a little bit more active still, the last option is that you could reach up on the inside of the bent knees and grab the outside edge of the feet. Now, if you're choosing that, again, go ahead and make sure that you're pressing your tailbone down into the mat. And also that your upper back and neck and shoulders are staying melted into the mat. So since it's still early in our practice, you might want to just start, hands on shins or behind the thighs. We'll spend another little less than 3 minutes left here. So really focusing on softening through the upper back. The shoulder blades are melting into the ground. The neck is melting into the ground. The back of the head is melting into the ground. And then the tailbone is pressing down into the mat. And so it's from here that we breathe into the hip socket. And letting that breath open our hips a little bit more, and our knees gently start to fall a little bit further down to the ground on either side. And these long holds are a great place to come back to that equal breathing. Feel our mind starts to wander. Let's go back to that count. Just telling yourself, now I breathe in. Now I breathe out. With a little bit of a minute or so left in this hold, maybe now is when you start to explore other options for the pose. If you had the feet, maybe you let go of the feet, bring hands to shins or backs of thighs. If you had backs of thighs or shins, maybe you grab up for the feet. But if you do that, again, remember, soften through the body, press the tailbone down to the ground. Yin Yoga is about letting go into a pose, letting the pose happen. And a big lesson is that if we find ourselves struggling to reach up for something, to grasp for something, especially in these like hip openers, we can find it harder than if we just let things happen. Definitely one of life's biggest challenges is letting things go, surrendering instead of grasping. Keeping the feet flexed wherever you are, so you're still getting a nice stretch through your toes. And so you're taking the opening really into your hips. The action of flexing the feet gets us there. And then let go of the feet, let go of the thighs, let go of the shin, whatever you have. Hug knees back into chest, maybe point and flex your feet a couple of times. Still lying on our backs here. Go ahead, cactus the arms for a moment. So really goalpost the arms, tops of the forearms, tops of the hands come down to the ground. Elbows are level with the shoulders. And then cross right leg over left. So like we're crossing our legs to sit. All right, if you've got your pillows, I invite you to make a really big stack of pillows here on your left side as we're turning this into a supine twist. So go ahead and make a big stack because it is early in our practice. It's always better to just yank away a pillow if you like. And then from here, shift your hips over to the right side of the mat. Pull those pillows in And then go ahead, drop the knees down on your stack of pillows, cushion. You don't need the pillows, right? Maybe if you're very open, your knees just fall to the floor. Now, from here, after the knees have fallen, can you keep your upper body relaxed, flat on the ground? So we open the hips and the hip flexors very passively here by giving ourselves a lot of support by bringing the ground up to our knees as much as we open the upper body by letting it stay soft. So take a moment, get nice and settled here. We'll spend about 2.5 minutes on this side. This posture in yin is sometimes called twisted roots. It's also called a supine lying down, that is spinal twist. If you notice that you're sort of grasping with the legs, if you're clenching the leg muscles, some breath there, see if you can let that go. And then as you breathe, if you find your hips starting to open a little bit more, right, we're really getting into that right IT band, right hip flexor. You can take away pillows if you stack them really high. You can also take your left hand and just gently put it on top of the right knee and add a little bit of pressure there. If you want to get a little bit more stretch through the left quad and through the upper body, you can turn this into what's called Indian cat pulling its tail. I love that, obviously. So in this one, you'd leave the right leg exactly as it is. Start to point the left toes, keep the left toes towards your butt, and then your right hand comes down and grabs for the pointed right foot. But then you drop the left knee back down to the ground. So that's the big opening for the upper body and the left quad. So that's just an option. But still keeping that cross of the legs here, keeping the right leg rested, right knee rested on that pillow stack. About a minute left here. So now is the time that you want to place left hand on top of right knee, take away a pillow. Or grab for the pointed left foot, check that out. This last bit of the posture. So gently coming out of this side, if you had left hand on top of right knee, let that go. If you grab the left foot, let that go. Cactus the arms for a minute, sink into the upper body. Then bring the whole cross leg package into your chest, let it go. Wiggle out the knees, wiggle out the lower back. Bring the feet to the ground for a moment, and then go ahead. And as we're switching sides, just stack the pillows, grab your pillow stack, bring it over to the right this time. You might start with this really high and notice that one side maybe needs less of the ground coming up to you. You never know until we try. So this time, go ahead, cross your left leg over your right. Grab the pillows up so that they're about even with your right hip. Again, cactus the arms, tops of the hands, tops of the forearms, down to the ground. Everything in the upper body soft. Shift the hips over to the left and then drop the knees over to the right. Yeah, and then maybe they'll come to rest on that pillow stack or maybe the floor, depending on how you're feeling on this side of the body. And again, upper body here stays so soft. The back of your head, back of your neck, the back of your shoulders, your chest, everything is open up to the ceiling as we hold this for 2.5 minutes. And by breathing and just letting the knees become heavier, we drop a little bit more into the pose, into the stretch on the outside of our hips. You might feel this in the left hip flexor, left IT band. And again, as we breathe into these shapes, you might want to take away a pillow if you find that your knees are sinking lower towards the ground. If you'd like a little bit more grounding, you can take right hand on top of left knee, press left knee, use that little bit of extra weight to take you deeper into the spinal twist, into the hip opening. And then the last option, again, is to turn this into cat pulling its tail on this side. And if it wasn't quite available on the other side, but it is on this side, great, feel free to take it. So again, we're gonna point right toe strongly, kick right toe up towards like left glute or butt cheeks there. Then take left hand, you can like wiggle around to grab that pointed left foot and then drop the foot, drop the leg back down to the ground. Drop the left shoulder down to the ground. So this deepens the stretch in our left hip flexor a lot. It opens our right quad a lot if you've chosen that, but just an option. Really honoring your physical autonomy here by picking any of these choices and then just sticking with them, right? Sometimes our greatest gift is just to be easy on ourselves and to take the option that feels the most restful. About 30 seconds left here. So if you want to take this last moment to explore a different variation or maybe start going back to one of the earlier options, that's good too. If you had left hand grabbing the right toes, let that go. Let that foot just glide away. Take right hand off left knee if you had that going. Go ahead, cactus the arms. Bring the knees up over your body. Whew, maybe wiggle them out. Let go of the crossing, massaging your lower back. Yes, everyone looks amazing. Okay, if you have the pillows, let's move them away from the mat, like a lot. And next shape here, make sure you have like a lot of room to get long on your mat. This one is called Is Yin Yoga Banana Asana, and hopefully that is a good hint to how this looks. So let's on the left side of our mat here, get all the way to the left side. And then take a big stretch overhead. So you might want to grab your left wrist with your right hand. So like you're first waking up in the morning and then pick up right foot and cross it over left ankle. Okay, go ahead and ground the bottom, your lower back into the ground. And then we're gonna make a little bit of a banana shape by still keeping our chest and our upper body open to the ceiling. So what you want to do here is use that grip on your left wrist to gently guide your arms over to the right while the middle of your body stays put. And then you want to send your feet over to the right. So it can be just like a very like small shift. Just want to keep our lower back glued into the floor and our chest and our lumbar spine, like the big part of our spine, right where it is. So the opening is coming along the outside of the left leg mostly, and then the outside of the left arm. Spending about 2 minutes here on each side. This is a nice way to relax the lower back, stretch into the side of the body. And again, the biceps are kind of framing your ears here. So you pull that left hand a little bit more to the right, and then commit to your expression of this pose for today and just breathe. Imagining the breath traveling up the whole axis of the side of your body from the left ankle up to your hip, from the hip up to the bottom of the left shoulder blade, from the left shoulder blade up to the left wrist, making that nice diagonal banana shape. Coming into the last 30 seconds or so of this shape. Always a nice time maybe to point and flex your feet, give your feet a little bit of love. And then gently coming out of this shape by just kind of shifting your hips towards the middle, uncross the legs, let go of the grip of the wrist, maybe bend the knees in for a moment. Do whatever you got to do to kind of release anything you might have felt on your lower back. Being really slow, really intentional as we switch sides. So taking that banana asana shape on the other side, this time we'll scoot all the way to the right side of the mat. Okay, so this time go ahead, cross left heel over right ankle. Grab your arms overhead. This time switch the grip, so your left hand is going to grab your right wrist. So hips, everything aligned all the way to the right side of the mat, and then first gently use that grip on the right wrist to bring your right arms over to the side, so your right bicep is stretching over right ear. And then pick up the feet and go ahead, this might activate your obliques a little bit, and send the feet away from you, so towards the bottom left corner of your mat. So you're making this banana shape in the opposite direction, but then go ahead and notice if you're tightening through your glutes, through your lower back, glue the lower back down to the ground. Make sure your chest, your ribs, everything is still open up to the ceiling. Close the eyes here and then just melt into this shape. Holding it for about 2.5 minutes again. Again, you probably noticed already one difference is that when we flow together in a hatha or vinyasa yoga class, we count breaths, or I might cue you on the inhale and exhale. And here this yin practice is really about you monitoring your own breath. We hold for time rather than breaths, and it's not like wrong or bad or anything either way. It's just different. And moving slowly and holding in stillness for time is said to really go deep down to releasing the joints, the fascia, because we're releasing all muscular effort that comes up during a flow class. And so just letting the opening happen really naturally, really passively. Maybe using your left hand to guide your right arm a little bit more to the left. Little last 45 seconds here, matching a long stretch from your right ankle up to your right hip along the right side of your body up to the bottom of your right shoulder blade. Right shoulder blade up to the right wrist, and then gluing the right hip back down to the ground. Letting go of any activation, any squeezing of any muscles here. As we close out this pose, this Bananasana, completely made up name shape. And then let this go by bringing the feet back to the center of the mat, uncrossing the ankles, letting go of the grip, bringing your hips to the center of the mat away from the right side, and then hug knees into chest. Good. And then really squeeze them in this time. So rock from side to side, just really massaging out the lower back. And then bring your chin up into your chest, forehead up to the knees, bring hands behind the thighs here. And then let's just take a couple of rocks and rolls along the spine to massage out the lower back after spending all that time there. Roll yourself up to sit. Good. Yeah, or just get up to sit with bent knees, however feels right to you. And then cross one shin over the other, and then just gently guide yourself to hands and knees just for a moment. I said we weren't going to be on the wrist, but really not. Just taking a couple of cat-cows to flush out the spine here. So hands under shoulders, knees under hips. The toes can be tucked. The toes can be untucked. So let's just arch the spine on the breath in, look up, tailbone up, throat goes up, chin goes up. Good. Exhale for cat, rounding in the opposite direction. Pelvis tilts under, head drops down. Chin into chest, maybe even take a few movements here, sitting back towards the heel. Inhale, arch the spine, look up for cow, pull heart forward between your shoulders. Exhale, push the ground away, finding that Halloween cat, angry cat shape, the shape Luna made earlier when I kicked her out of my meditation class. All right. Find a neutral spine, tuck your toes, and then go ahead and bring your knees together here on the mat. So inner thighs come together, knees are touching, then bring the ankles together. Press all 10 toes into the mat. If you've practiced this before, you may know what's coming. I promise this is like eating fiber cereal. It is good for you. So go ahead, take your hands, get all your toes really pressing into the ground, pressing into the ground. You have to like take that little pinky toe and press it in. Good. Okay. Now, this is a big stretch for the arch of the feet, the toes. So if this is already plenty, just stay here. Just shifting your weight back so that your hips sit on the heels. Like already, I feel it in the arch of my feet, okay? So this is a great place to stay because we will stay for a couple minutes. Now, if you'd like a little bit more sensation here, we'll be here for about 2 minutes. Start to walk the hands back towards the knees. This might be enough. So really think about sinking the hips down on the heels, and the heels are going to stack stretch through that arch, right? You might be feeling it already. We never, ever, ever do this in real life. And our feet are like contracting and very not so much. So if this is feeling good, just drop the head down. And then if you want to take this a little bit further, you can just walk the hands back and place them on top of your thighs.
Sit up on heels. So my head is going out of frame. That is okay, but you can see the option here. Now, this is a lot. So you may want to only sit here for, a few seconds before coming back to the floor.
This sounds cut out a little bit, like a little bit.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay. Oh, I see what happened here. Okay. We're going to the internal microphone. That's fine. Let me see here. Ooh, I see what happened. Okay. Going to the internal microphone for the end of this. All good here. Looks like this ran out of battery. Okay. Actually, is my microphone back? Okay. Come out of the foot stretch, everyone. Come back to your heels. Untuck the toes. Good. Let me repair the microphone. Here we go. Thanks for letting me know. Okay. All right. So coming out of the foot stretch, coming back to the knees, untuck the toes, tap the feet on the ground. Good, good. All right. Child's pose. So yin child's pose, really luxuriating in this shape here. Take your knees as wide as the mat. Or if you'd like this to become more of an upper body opener, you can also bring the knees together. So I'm going to show both sides. Again, this is a great time to put extra cushioning under your knees because we will be here for a moment. Or if you'd like to place cushioning under your seat, that is a great idea. Here is also a great idea if you find it more comforting, right? More supported to have this pillow between your torso and your thighs. Okay, from here, 2 options. If you'd like to focus a little bit more on the lower back, bring knees as wide as the mat. Get nice and comfy, and then go ahead and place your torso down in that space here, whether it's on a pillow or on nothing, and walk your hands forward. And then find a resting place for your forehead so you can stack the fists, make a pillow, and just go ahead and let the forehead rest there. Now, if you want to turn this into more of an upper back situation, you bring the knees together. Again, any cushioning here is good. And then you drop your forehead down to the ground. And again, you can make the fist pillow here, or you can move the cushioning here so that your forehead can come down to the cushion. And then you take your arms and drape them on either side of your legs, palms up, and then the shoulders are going to kind of drop down and your upper back will kind of tent over your knees. So we'll be here for 2 minutes. Breathing into whichever child's pose you've chosen. And feeling your hips get heavier. Now, if you're in the wide kneed variation and you want that lower back opening as well, one more option you have here, if your forehead reaches the ground, is to bend the elbows, bring the hands up above your head, clasp or press the palms together like in a prayer shape. And then go ahead, bring the heels of your palms to the heel of your head. So you're making a little kind of like teepee shape with your fingers up to the ceiling. And once you've gotten that nice and settled, then you can walk the elbows forward a little bit. So that's a little bit of you'll feel it in the triceps. Just directing the breath down to the hips. Directing the breath into the back. If you have your arms draped over your knees in that other variation. Sending the breath to the shoulders and the triceps if you've got your prayer hands happening at the back of your head. Coming into the last minute of this shape. This is one of the most elemental shapes in yoga because it gets us so close to the ground that supports us, right? It's Earth Day.
Brings us back into ourselves, brings our energy back. It's very introspective. Stretches our hips, our feet, our contact with the earth. Okay. If you had the backs of your, if you had the prayer hand situation happening on the back of your head, let that go, let the arms go. If you had anything else happening, let the arms go just for a moment. And then sit up, get rid of any cushioning that you might have had under the seat. If you had anything under your torso, go ahead, get rid of it. If you need a moment here to just kind of wiggle from side to side, just getting into the lower back, cool. And then we're all going to slither forward here on our stomach. So just get here, however makes the most sense to you. Behind you. Getting it back and upper back at the Sphinx. Make a pillow with your hand. And lift softly. Drag your hands back under your shoulders. You can take a little bit of a baby cobra here. So just using your core muscles to pull the upper half of your body up. But again, drop the shoulders away from the ears. Notice if you're clenching through your glutes, let that go. And just let the rise come from your core muscles. Just as high as you can go while keeping your neck long and the breath soft. Good. So we'll take this into Sphinx at first. So take your right elbow, put it down under right shoulder. You've probably done this with me. You practice with me. Bring the right forearm long in front of you. Spread through the right fingertips. And then left elbow under left shoulder. Fingers spread. Yeah, everyone looks really good. So you're just making a cat shape. That's it. And then look forward. And you can find the feeling of your hips sinking down into the ground, supported by your forearms. And then just kind of look forward. Let the legs relax. Let the glutes relax. Let the hamstrings relax. And then again, just taking control of your own breathing here. Letting the front of the chest open softly. And then we'll stay here for about a minute and a half before we go on to another variation called seal, which is just an option. Beautiful sphinxes, everyone. Very majestic. This is also a nice passive stretch for the front of the hip flexors. So if you're ever just hanging out and you find like your hips might need a little bit of love, you can just lay on your stomach and like read like this, write. Okay. Option for seal. This is just an option. If you'd like a little bit more sensation to open the lower back, you start to press into the hands so the elbows come off the mat. Walk the hands forward about like a hand's length. Bring them as wide and then tent the fingertips to the mat. So this is the most active you practice so far. tensing up the natural. So okay. Fingertips clawing, press. Hands flat on the ground. All your hands back from wherever you were to under your shoulders. Come up to hands and knees for a moment. Let's find a momentary child's pose. So this time we all bring our feet, our knees as wide as the mat, untuck toes, sink the hips back onto the heels. Making that pillow with your fist or letting the forehead come down to the ground. Slowly start to walk your hands back towards your knees. And then just come to sit up on your heels just for a moment. Bring the knees just to get up to an upright seated position. So go ahead, drop your butt off to either side. Bring your legs long in front of you. Again, if you find yourself kind of tilting or anything, it can be really nice to bring a pillow under your seat here to get yourself nice and supported. And then go ahead and let your legs go long in front of you. Now, this in a hatha class, this would be Dandasana staff pose, and we'd let it be very active, right? Let your toes flop out here. Okay, good. Yeah, everyone looks really good. So let the toes relax. The legs are relaxed. And then bring your hands alongside your seat here. And then just gently just crawl the hands forward, rounding through the spine. So a lot of times we say flat back and then we fold because we're trying to get into the hamstrings. The difference here is that we're really staying through a rounded spine as we walk our hands forward. And then just get to that edge of your sensation, right? Right where it feels like a stretch, but you can hang. And then let the head drop down. So this is a huge release for the lower back. And in fact, to make sure that this is just becoming a posture of surrender, turn the palms up. Right? The arms don't need anything to do with this. Let the head be heavy as we hold this for about 2 minutes. Chin drops into chest. Maybe the top of the head starts to drop a little bit lower towards the ground. Feeling a little bit more release along the back of the neck. Palms turning up in surrender, into a posture for receiving energy as the toes just flop out. The legs are supporting you, but they are not squeezing, not struggling. About 20 seconds or so left here. Turn your palms down to the ground. Walk yourself up to a seat. And then setting up for yoga nidra, our yogic sleep. So come on onto your back and take a moment, get really comfortable here because you're not going to have to do anything for 20 minutes.
Okay. So I invite you to get super comfy. Hi. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Okay, we got disconnected here. Okay. We're still going to do 20 minutes of yoga nidra. Thank God this is still recording. Night. Nightmare stuff. Okay. Minutes together. I'll guide us through. All you have to do is getting nice and comfortable. Make any final adjustments here to your body that you need. Turn up. And then your thumb slightly higher than your pinky so that you're not rotating your arm, which might cause strain. So just get the tops of the hands really flat on the ground, nice and comfortable. Find the perfect positioning of your head and neck here. Close your eyes if you're not there yet. Really let go of that minor technological hiccup, which at least happened at a nice time. And then really soften the brow, right? It's as if the brow could slide towards your eyebrows, just kind of melting down. The temples melting down towards the ears. Almost like everything was just sliding to the floor. And as you're imagining your temples, your brows sliding to the floor, close the eyes, relax through the jaw, let the top of your, the bottom of your jaw just fall down. Yeah. And as you relax through the jaw, eyes closed, your lips might even part a little bit. Feel the tongue falling into the bottom of the mouth. And then relax any conscious control of the breath here. So we're not doing any kind of yoga breathing technique, and you're aware of as you breathe in and out. The abdomen as you breathe. I'm just letting that become kind of oceanic, kind of directing your focus there, just like we did with the breathing at the beginning of class. So starting to tune in to your own breath. Start to silently count back on your exhalations from 10. So next time your navel falls down to the spine on a breath out, silently. So just breathing from center. Just letting go of a little bit more tension each time. And if you get lost in the count back from 10, okay. Just start again. And if you early, just start again. No effort. Counting where you've reached, no effort with it at all. Get deeper. You might notice the breath no longer through your abdomen, but the breath is just moving in the chest. So a puff of breath as you relax even further. Release. At this point, you might not even feel the breath down into the abdomen. And just focus on the breath that remains in the chest. Focus on this tiny puff of breath as it moves in and out. Maybe taking your awareness right to the tip of your nose, right where the breath is passing in and out. Feeling a little bit cooler on the way in and a little bit warmer on the breath out. And as you fall into this breath even further, you might become aware of the movement even in the walls of your nostrils as you breathe. And it might feel like you're not even the breather anymore. It might feel like you are being breathed. So now we're going to move that awareness into the body. And I'll name different parts of the body for you to focus on, to drop your attention to, but there's no need to move these parts. There's no need to feel anything in particular as I name them. So just become aware of your right hand, right thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, palm of the hand, back of the hand, right forearm, upper arm, right shoulder, right underarm. Take awareness to right ribs, right waist, right hip, right thigh, right knee, top of the right foot, sole of the right foot, right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe. I become aware of left thumb, second finger, palm of the hand, back of the hand, left forearm, left upper arm, left shoulder, left underarm, awareness to left ribs, left waist, left hip, left thigh, left knee, left shin, ankle. Take awareness to top of the left foot, sole of left foot, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe. Take awareness to back of the head, right shoulder blade, left shoulder blade. Take awareness to right glute, left glute, right heel, left heel. Awareness to the spine, pelvis, the lower belly, upper belly, right chest, left chest, center of the chest. Bring awareness to the throat, the chin, bottom lip, top lip, space between the lips. Bring awareness to the tongue, the roof of the mouth, right cheek, left cheek, right ear, left ear, tip of the nose, bridge of the nose. Take awareness of the right eye, left eye, right eyebrow, left eyebrow, space between the eyebrows, forehead, now take awareness of the entire back of the body, entire front of the body. Feel the whole body resting here. Rest. Feeling everything melting down into the floor, supported by the earth that we are celebrating on this Earth Day. And now take your awareness to the center of the breastbone, The space between your lungs, the 4 chambers of your own heart. And right there in the space in your chest, can you imagine a glow, a light? Like an almond-shaped flame about the size of your thumbnail. Imagine it illuminating the heart, growing warmer, growing a little bit bigger. And visualize or feel that flame in your heart and the space between your lungs, feeling it grow brighter, growing warmer, growing more luminous, and starting to expand out in all directions. Imagine this light growing so bright and so radiant that it begins to fill the space around you. Feeling yourself held in that light. As this golden light radiates out, imagine it surrounding the body as if you're resting inside a golden egg. And this light carries with it all peace, healing, and love. This light is you, and you are the light. You are an individual soul that's part of the greater super soul. Rest in that awareness. Resting in that awareness of who you are. When you're ready, start to deepen your breathing. Travel through your entire body, feeling them start to light up all the little different body parts we talked about. Start to wake your body up by wiggling fingers and toes. Keep your eyes stretch overhead like you're waking up. Sort of like that banana shape that we took earlier, really stretching overhead from your fingertips down through your toes. And then keeping the eyes closed, really gently roll over onto one side using your bicep as a pillow. Take a moment here resting in this little fetal position, relishing in these moments of bringing this energy inside yourself. Then using your top hand, come back up to a comfortable seat, keeping the eyes closed towards the sound of my voice. Then bring your hands to heart center if you like, palms touching, and we'll close with one last breath together. Inhale through the nose. Can gently open your eyes. Thank you so much for allowing me to guide you through that practice. And thank you so much to you for taking these 75 minutes to rest and recharge.